Hey everybody, welcome to another Hollow Knight Randomizer Lockout Bingo Tournament match. I feel like usually not that many words there, but yeah, today we've got AbsolutelyAsh versus CakeSauc3. This is a loser's bracket match, so the loser of this is actually eliminated from the tournament, so stakes are high today.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, CakeSauc3 getting upset by, I believe it was Jetfire in round one of the winner's bracket for this.
Oh, I didn't even see Cake's tracker. Wait.
That should fix itself as soon as Cake benches for the first time. That usually just means the Cake was like practicing on a God Home save file or something before now.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna wait to see Ash load in here. Perfect. I will count them in. Wait. There we go.
All right, so right off the bat, looking at the board, features are my personal favorite tiebreaker in Defeat Nightmare King Grim that we haven't seen on a couple of boards yet. Some other spicy goals include Kill a King's Mold and Check Voidheart, both of which require a lot of different progression pieces. I want to shout out King's Mold in particular because this weekend has been very Dreamnail dry. As early goals go, you got Lore Tablet and Howling Cliffs, which just needs a way up there and is otherwise free, and 1500 Geo in the bank can tend to be more or less early depending on how lucky you get with Geo drops at shops and the like.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this board in general. I really like Kill Mila, obviously. And then also we've got two goals behind King's Brand with the Void Tendrils journal entry and Voidheart. So I'm pretty happy with the board. Pretty excited for the state of this race.
Yeah, and not a whole lot that's going on super early. No False Knight Moloch, no Vengefly King Massive Moss Charger, nothing that's going to compel these runners in any particular direction right off the bat. I'm assuming we're going to get the Fury check from both of them because there's no reason you'd put it off.
Yep, I think it's a pretty good thing to get out of the way. It would suck especially on medium logic, to kind of have to go through all of the checks in medium logic and then just like take all that time and then just end up having to come back for Fury. Trying to see if there's anything like else on the board that like makes any specific area extremely strong. I think whoever finds that Distant Village Stag will have a pretty good time, considering Brum's Flames on the board as well. Other than that, the goals are pretty well spaced out. Lore Tablets and Soul Sanctum and Soul Master is another like strong combo.
I mean, that depends on how easy Claw and Dive are to find on this board. If the seed hands you Wings very fast, it might be worth Soulmaster without the Lore Tablets.
That's true. That's very true. Nothing's too pressing at Iselda. See Ash check as well.
Either runner going with the strat of buying the one Geo, pick up first and asking questions later, so Collector's Map going to remain unbought. Actually, looking back at the board, we have all of our favorite one-off items required. We got 2 Grim goals, we've got a couple Abyss goals, and we also have check free all grubs and waterways, which is a tram pass goal. So this could be a very fast seed or a very late seed.
Quite a few things at low grubs here. Dreamnail at 10 and Fragment at 16.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, grubs relatively important. I think that Fragment could come into play. Dreamnail at 10 isn't awful. Dreamnail isn't excessively strong on this board, but it will be useful for things like entering God Home. Is that all?
It looks like Godhome, Galleon, and Nightmare King Grim are the only, and Kingsmold, obviously, which requires 3 of them.
Right. We're gonna see this. Ooh, VS this early. We're getting an any % seed.
That would be
happy
nice
to
to
see
have.
that VS.
Yeah, nice change of pace. VS also had a pretty easy, and Hidden Station Stag. That's a goal right off the bat for Cake, as Ash is going to spend the time trying to get this Go Mask Shard check and not going to get it and resetting the room.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of different times from runners. This is in Logic. I think that this is a pretty good play when you feel like you are behind your opponent on just like getting through crossroads and doing checks. If you are behind your opponent in general, I feel like you kind of want to diverge if you can, but it feels really, really bad if you're diverging and then you just have to end up following anyways. So we'll see if Ash gets bailed out here.
Yeah, and this is a rough check to have to go back for. Since we are on medium logic, you can be forced to do it with no progression items, but just a Mask Shard. So Cake with a pretty convincing advantage going into False Night and finding ways out of the crossroads.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see Ash just follow here, do the crossroads checks, or like the crossroads stag check, do Dirtma stag check, and then probably continue on to False Night, but it's definitely a sizable advantage here. I'd like to see Sly instead. Might be something there, but it's hard to say where your opponent is.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of random goals on this board. I mean, as always, there are a couple of sneaky one-offs that you want to get before your opponent to wrap up those goals, but there's not a whole lot of random goals. There's no like random obtain charm goals. There's one pretty shops oriented goal in 4 rancid eggs, and nail 3 being a geo sync on its own is another matter. So False Night is probably where Ash is going to head, unless she really has a good read on where Cake is right now.
That was interesting. Okay, yeah. Ash picked up Hidden Station Stag there and then went back to the Stag, and it just wasn't in the menu. Also, it's worth noting we do have 2 Balder killers this early. Definitely could be leading towards Green Path for progression. That's where I'd like to see Ash go right now. Either that or do the Fireball skip to Salubra and check Sly as well, but where was that tick?
Yeah,
inside the wall.
Ash just following behind Cake here. We're going to run through False Night. Worth noting that Cake did not go all the way around for the Soul Catcher check, choosing instead to route towards shops. So wonder if Ash is going to make that decision.
Yeah, it's something that, like, it does feel like it takes some time to do, but I don't know. When you have 2 Balder killers, I feel like it's kind of pointing towards that sort of thing. I do like this though. I really do hope that Cake does the Fireball skip to Salubra. It is in Logic, and having something like Fireball will make doing that just so much more like so much less annoying than doing the full shade skip. Yep.
And nails it first try. And there's your way out.
There's your dash, yeah.
And
that's
some
big.
geo to afford it, no less. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was above 500. I don't think that can happen. I think Cake is just going to check Sly first, maybe, before going back and getting the dash.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable play. I can't imagine what could possibly be at Sly that would be more important than a dash.
And Crystal Dash could be at Sly, so you can get Kill Mila off the board. That's a big deal. But instead, it's just Dash Master.
Oh my goodness. Zoomies this early in the seed. Cake is going to be very happy about that. All right, is going to pick up that dash. Pretty pricey though, 480. That must be on the upper bound of of what things can actually cost.
Yeah, I think as I recall correctly, for actual intended items like progression, the most they can cost in shops is 500. So that's just about as much as it can. We also, it looked like, saw 2 pale ore between those shops. So nail 3 within arm's reach in terms of just knowing where things are. Obviously, a large geo barrier between either runner and the goal.
Yeah, so we've seen a decent amount of stuff here, but there really still aren't that many goals open to the runners, which is really, really interesting. Usually with dash or fireball or some access to another area, you see some goals start to open up, but definitely going to be just continuing on this progression hunt. Gonna see the soul catcher check.
Just Dream Shield. Cake getting even more damage in the form of Unbreakable Strength. As you got a Fireball, you got Unbreakable Strength. You're pretty much good on damage until we start needing those late game bosses.
Yeah, and Spell Twister too. They're getting a lot of nice charms. And having access to Dash Master as well. There's a lot of very nice things in this seed. The seed is being very kind to our runners.
And Ash falling behind here. Gonna fight Grozmother. Hopefully also gets, if not the Fireball skip, then at least the Shade skip up to Salubra.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable, especially in medium logic, to kind of know your air stalls to Salubra. There are times when you do have to do that Shade skip, but I feel like it happens so much more often that you just get air stall of some sort and then are able to just kind of go over there.
Especially in the case of Salubra, where it's in logic anyway because of the Shade skip. The air stall just saves so much time.
Looks like Ash is just setting up for the Shade skip immediately before trying the Fireball. I think you should at least try it once. I mean, if you have the full soul and you're right there anyways, I think it's worth trying.
And Cake just completing the route around Fungal into Green Path, going to not autopilot past the famed autopilot relic, and is rewarded with Dash Slash. So we've seen all of the dash things. We've seen Dash, Dash Master, and Dash Slash.
Yeah, so notably that Queen Station bench is going to be good for the bank when he does have the Geo for it. Not immediately going to come into play, but it's really good to set up and get some of these benches around, so that when you do have the means to get some of these goals, you can just kind of knock them out.
And Ash wasting no time in buying her first dash, and wonder where she's heading from here. Looks like also the same play, unfortunate, heading into Fungal from the Hot Springs bench.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have that many places you could go. I mean, I guess you could go Green Path, but it's kind of a 50-50, and I feel like this is the more directly appealing play, giving you access to Leg Eater, and also putting yourself in a position where you have Shroomal Ogres to kind of start refreshing Geo a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is a more check-dense way to move around. It's just unfortunate that Ash ended up farther behind on the opening movement, and so is going to be repeating a lot of these checks, unless she decides to go right, but that seems unlikely, yeah.
There's Hera. That's a goal. Is Cake... Oh, Cake sees it. Okay, cool. Just a little bit of stream delay. So Ash will eventually see that, I imagine, if she continues through here. And we'll know how far behind she is by that, kind of time difference from when she finds it compared to when Cake obtained it.
Yeah, and also right now, Ash's biggest material advantage is in knowing the equipment that's at grubs that Cake never checked. So I wonder if Ash goes even a little bit further out of her way to pick up some grubs in Green Path, as Cake is just immediately rushing up towards the Hornet 1 area. Get those quick checks out of the way.
Looked like Ash was trying to get above 2 health so that Sporgs isn't quite as scary. There we go.
Sporgs is one check that is always one of the most accidentally infuriating places in the game. So many accidental deaths there, especially if you don't have dash. This last jump is very annoying and can get you sort of chain comboed into a death.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely died to Sporgs in a race like 2 days ago. I'm not the biggest fan of that check. All right, gonna see Hornet fight from Cake here. Should be pretty quick with Spell Twister, and this is like any percent loadout. So this is gonna be a fight that Cake is very familiar with, but now also has Spell Twister. Getting some nice Hornet doubles there.
And that's our third pale ore at Leg Eater. I don't recall if we pointed that out or not. But so Nail 3 is a static goal at this point as soon as runners cough up the Geo.
So this is interesting. We saw basically the whole trip through Fungal and Green Path without much more progression. Curious where that leaves us.
So the true ending shade skip to right side is not in logic. Oh, white fragment in the well. That's big. True ending shade skip is not in medium logic, and neither is the infection pogo to right side, which leaves us, as far as logical areas, there's massive Moss Charger. There's one check behind that boss, and then there's also Mantis Claw and Dash Master.
Cake is going to get the info about grubs here. See that Dream Nail at 10. I'm trying to think. There's nothing that Hidden Station Stag puts in logic, right? We need
Not on its own. You need vertical.
Yeah, okay.
Or King's Brand and some other stuff, I suppose. Yeah, right now out of logic checks are just looking a little bit more appealing than in logic checks. You could lever skip with the dash slash to get the first check in Queen's Gardens. You have a couple ways to get to right side. None of them open up tremendous amounts of goals without vertical though, which is a curiosity of this board.
Yeah, this board seed combo definitely a little bit peculiar.
And Ash is going out of logic here with this lever skip into Queen's Gardens. Just for the record, since I always get this wrong myself, lever skips are not in any logic, even hard, not out of any difficulty, but because lever skips are a setting that you can turn off.
So we're expecting to see something from Moss Charger here. I feel like the odds are pretty good.
It's either that or Vanilla Claw memes at the ready.
Yeah. I like stuff like this though. I'm a big fan of races that kind of test people's speed and their ability to kind of hunt through all the checks optimally and find progression. It does feel a little bit worse to kind of race, I feel like, but yeah, I really appreciate that.
And Cake now starting to route in grubs, eyeing that Dream Nail already, which I think is the smart play while he's in the area. But Massive Moss Charger was a bust, so Vanilla Claw?
Maybe.
But it looks like Cake is gonna check go mass chart instead, and then I wonder if he just goes to right side.
Yeah, I think breaking logic is I don't know. It's interesting. At this point, he's so few checks away from finding intended progression. I guess maybe that's just my curiosity and not actually what would be good for him.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot you can do on right side with just dash. Like there are no goals. You're essentially hoping to find your progression out of logic instead of in logic in that case.
Oh, this is Moloch. That's something I forgot about. With that fireball, Moloch's in logic.
As well as Boulder Shell up top, which Cake skipped.
Mm-hmm. Poor Moss Charger.
Yep,
Never
twice.
even stood a chance.
At least there's no defeat a Radiant boss on this bingo board, or else we'd see many more Moss Charger fights.
Poor guys. They just get abused for content.
So Ash still falling behind a little bit. We've seen one or two creative logic breaks that has gotten her. I mean, a fourth of a goal is nothing to sneeze at, but has not been rewarded in terms of progression.
All right, we'll see what's here at Moloch, and it's a Rancid Egg. Wow, progression really hiding this seed.
Yes, to confirm, Locust did generate this seed. Claim no responsibility.
Oh, yeah, I might have generated a seed. Oh boy. Yeah, chat's asking, did Cake equip strength? He's using Spell Twister instead. It's a good problem to have early when you have multiple different ways to get damage out of charms.
And this is going to be Boulder Shell, so Cake really stretching his logic knowledge, and committed to staying in logic, which I think on this board makes sense.
It's interesting that we're seeing like at the current rate we're at, 2 goals in the first 20 minutes, at 1 goal per 10 minutes. We might be here for a little bit. But I imagine once they find vertical, this will kind of get blown open.
Simple key, alright. The plot thickens a little bit.
Huh.
Still don't have a way to actually use that simple key in logic, but...
Coming back for Dashmaster. Dashmaster Spell Twister. Be a pretty cool combo.
And it looks like Leg Eater's got another selection of Rancid Eggs, but they are all fairly expensive. So both runners having the thought at the same time about that 4 Rancid Eggs goal, but still a little bit out of reach, especially since they both upgraded with Dashmaster for the Zoomies.
I'm almost like quaking with excitement. I'm so excited to see what intended progression actually is on this. Because it just seems so buried. I'm like so curious.
Well, I believe this is Cake heading down to the last 2 logical checks on their own, in the form of Dashmaster and Mantis Claw. I don't think there's anything that we haven't seen so far in logic.
Last 2 checks are going to be Howling Wraiths and Kingsbrand.
That would be something.
That's the content I'm signing up for.
That's what we've come to expect. It even synergizes with all the goals in Abyss.
Wings.
Right. Oh, that's certainly something.
Yeah, that'll help out a little bit. What is the most obvious thing to do here? Is gonna go for this Howling Cliffs lore tablet. Yeah, I think this is good. Trying to see if that opens up anything else immediately. I mean, it opens up all of right side as far as logic goes with the shade skip. And Soulmaster will be possible.
And then that's about it as far as goals go. I mean, you have Lem access, which is a big deal for 4 Rancid Eggs, since those are known quantities, as well as we've seen 1 Pale Lore at every shop. So there's Nail 3 if you have enough relics to do it. I don't know what either player's relic count looks like right now. But not a whole lot of goals that you immediately rush there.
Oh. I don't know how Cake did that. What is going on with the other Vengefly? Somehow Cake got both of the Vengeflies like completely synced, and then it looked like there was just one Vengefly, and then he somehow desynced them again. And I don't know how you do that.
Vengefly following logic is weird. It's not nearly as bad as like Primal Aspid ranching, but it's still weird. I don't pretend to understand it at all.
Yeah, like the second Vengefly just pieced out. That Vengefly always slows down there. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, I've never done it, or I've never done it pulling 2 Vengeflies down, but I think that would kind of reduce some risk, so I think that's really good. I might steal that.
As we saw just a couple races ago, or maybe even last race, that Vengefly lure takes a healthy amount of time to set up, so if you have to do multiple attempts at it, the extra insurance for luring 2 Vengeflies is often worth it.
So Ash farming some Geo here. I'm not 100% sure what this is for. It does feel bad to be low on Geo with all the Geo goals on board, but...
Or you could just luck out and find some Geo, yeah. But with the Howling Cliffs lore tablet marked, Ash knows that, well, Ash likely knows that Vertical is somewhere. Could be Stag Nest Stag, but more likely, you got multiple options of Vertical. And sure enough, Cake heading right side.
So things we'll see most likely. I think that's Soulmaster and then like just Lem.
Defender's Crest, that's an easy goal off the board right away. That's some nice routing luck there.
Yeah, that will definitely help. I was literally like about to say like, yeah, we'll probably see this and then we'll probably see Lem. And then Defender's Crest just appears.
So definitely not worth going to Resting Grounds over. You got a goal you can rush right now, and you don't know anything about where Ash is on account of Ash having no goals on the board just yet. So gonna run down for presumably Lem with Defender's Crest and then Soulmaster thereafter.
Ash is on her way to get wings here, which is good. We'll be still at a disadvantage for sure in like what she can actually do with those wings, but it will be good to have that progression kind of evened out.
I mean, depending on Cake's routing here and how quickly Ash goes to right side with her wings, you could get lucky in terms of some of the Geo goals, because Cake will have to make 2 trips to Lem, one with Defender's Crest and one without. But that sort of requires some really heads-up routing from Ash and heading right to right side, and perhaps some questionable routing from Cake as well.
Puts on Defender's Crest. I'd like to see like you go to Lem here, you get the goal, you get the toll bench for the Sanctum stuff later, and then you come back to Lem after to try and get some of these Geo goals out of the way.
I the Arcane Egg at King Station is certainly a hefty Geo bump, but I don't know if they have enough for Nail 3, because all 3 of the Paylors we've seen have been in shops, and so they're probably carrying about 1k Geo price tags just on their own. Certainly 1,500 in the bank is very, very doable, and Ash picks up her wings.
And we'll see where she decides to head with these wings. Looks like we are going to get the Mantis Claw check.
Right, Vanilla Claw. Least.
I mean, the dream isn't dead yet. We haven't seen it.
Or also, if it's something like Grimchild or Trampass here, it could be a very long time before Cake goes back for that check.
Yeah, it's tough in Lockout, because I feel like I feel like you just tend to kind of strand checks just by virtue of trying to get goals out of the way as fast as possible.
Oh, and another random goal for Cake.
So Ash following here. I think this is pretty solid play.
Yeah, Cake just getting lucky in terms of some of the routing stuff. Having goals along his path and making it to right side first.
Will eventually get killed. That guy wasn't really cooperating. So looks like Cake is going for this Soul Master here. Oh, maybe this is just taking the other direction to the toll bench. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't actually get up the left side to the toll bench without Claw specifically, so this is your only way up with wings.
Mm-hmm.
And Cake also continuing, just doing the speedrunner's trick to the bench. That actually loses time RTA, I am 99% sure. It just is clock manipulation when you're doing speedruns of the game.
Yeah, I was going to ask, I know that that's faster in speedruns, but I was curious whether it actually saves time in rando. Do you think it saves time in the, Queen's Gardens bench where the toll is right beside the door? I think that might be the only one that it still saves time on.
That might be the case in terms of faster PCs. I know it's all definitely slower for me.
Does your PC load slower than the load normalizer time?
Yes. Oh. I have to gentlemen's to longer loads on my races. It's not an uncommon thing. I know there are a couple other runners that also have those agreements ready to go for tournament races. But that's why I'm glad we switched to the standard of completing the initial load before actually starting the race, because my initial loads were absolute garbage.
Yeah, that's been something I've really been appreciating about the newer rounds of these tournaments. I feel like we've been slowly making the tournament experience just better for competitors, and I really appreciate that.
Yep. And Ash taking the time out to check out resting grounds, which is something, again, like we've been saying this entire race, with the foreknowledge that she's probably behind on this routing, going out of your way to do more checks in the hopes of finding progression your opponent left behind is not the worst thing. Rewarded with a ton of Geo there.
Yeah, Ash might be able to snipe some of these Geo goals away. Not having Lem is a little bit rough, but maybe you obtain 4 Rancid Eggs here. That's a pretty pricey one.
A lot of expensive Rancid Eggs. Also, something that we missed in the load conversation was Cake picking up Crystal Dash, which means it's only a matter of time before the best goal gets marked.
Cake kind of just mowing through Soul Master. I've definitely taken notes on this fight. It's one of the cleaner Soul Master fights I've seen in Rando for sure. So that will bring it to 6 goals for Cake. With other goals pretty readily available to him as well. I think you could get some of these Geo goals out of the way. You could even go and fight Hornet 2 if you wanted to. Sea Peaks Elevator, he's getting right now.
Sea Elevator and Mila, while you've got Crystal Heart and are in the area.
Right, Mila's about to die. Oh, that's exciting.
I wonder what Cake is looking for at shops. Ash already probably just now sees Ash with the mark on 4 rancid eggs. Or is otherwise looking for relics to do a Lem trip? I'm not sure. So Ash here going to, at long last, continue down into City. It looks like might be getting the gauntlet above King Station, so also of the checks that Cake missed. Well, Cake just mowing down goals. F's in the chat for Mila.
Oh, I should have switched the audio sooner. I was about to switch the audio because of the Windows noises, but I wish we could have heard Mila dying.
Alas, with the best goal marked, Cake up to an 8-1 lead. And still no sign of Claw.
Yeah, it really might not end up being necessary though. Like I'm looking at 8 goals. If you manage to get Nail 3, the Bank, and then Hornet 2, you're on 11. Yeah, it's gonna be tight.
You know where one Dream Nail is already, so you can get to Galleon, and you're a dive away from God Home.
Yeah, might not end up needing to see this Claw. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
Cake now absolutely flush with Geo. Gonna start knocking down some more of these Geo goals. Not enough for both 1500 in the Bank and Nail 3.
That equip 5 charms at the same time. Kind of a pseudo Geo goal. Between buying charm notches and buying charms to get the quality of life charm notches as well.
Also, like a more sneakily late game goal than you might at first suspect, just because there are relatively few one-notch charms, and some of them like to hide. So you either wait until you have a lot of Geo and can afford a lot of charm notches, or you hope to get lucky. Yeah,
we haven't seen many one-cost charms, have we? We've seen Defender's Crest from both. I feel like that's the only one we've seen.
Dreamwielder was in a shop, but
okay.
Other than that, yeah. As Ash heading into her second attempt on this gauntlet, still in a bit of a scary place.
It's on the last round of this gauntlet. Oh, we'll heal the extra time. Alright, just one big guy. We're good.
I should be through it.
Unless this this last husk should be the most skilled husk. But no.
And yeah, I'm assuming this is the Hornet 2 play. You got Ismas, you got Wings. All you need to get there. Cake not very shy about his boss fights.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is going to be Nail 0 base VS Hornet 2, so it'll be interesting to see.
So that's, you know, just low percent true ending Hornet 2. Easy.
Easy. No, I'm sure he'll be fine with the mastery of boss fights that he has. Like him just kind of blowing up Soul Master earlier, and then from some of the other races I've seen him play, like his boss fights are incredible.
That's been sort of the theme of this weekend. Has been just runners with incredibly slick boss fights.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly would be avoiding this until I had at least Shade Soul or some nail upgrades, but I suspect we're going to get a clinic on getting good here.
Yeah, I'd probably aim to try and get that nail 3 before I even tried this fight. Getting a lot of parries here.
I love the just walking out of range of the parries. I'm far too timid to do that. I always dash out. And it looks like Ash is trying to contest this, which could be very unfortunate.
I think you can do this with Dash Master Wings, but I think your second dash has to be lower down, I think? Could be wrong.
Is Ash going to take a death there trying to set up? Yeah, Cake with a really large advantage in the form of that Isma's. Isma's wasn't that far out of the way. Isma's was just at Lemeg. It was Seed Ash that was buried in Soul Sanctum, though. But Ash determined to try and contest this one at 2 goal.
Oh, I love the music for this fight.
And Cake's still on a pretty good amount of health. It's the Hornet 1 damage rotation, but a little bit harder, and that's Hornet 2.
Wow, that was a really, really nice fight.
Exactly as Ash gets the skip over. That's unfortunate.
City Crest. Interesting.
It gets a city. Long last.
So we've got things to go for. I wonder what Cake will head to immediately here. Might just do checks on the way up.
At this point, I kind of like getting grubs or a Dream Nail, because that's 1 goal immediately, and another goal down, 2, 3 other goals sort of down the line. But yeah, just checking the map at this point isn't too bad.
Yeah, I mean, you have such a tempo advantage being up this many goals that, like, I think doing checks is very, very reasonable here.
Why not have another Sea Dash while you're at it?
I like thinking a lot about tempo when I do these races. In that, like, what does Ash have to do to stay in this race here? And I think, like, what Ash has to do is go for any goal that Cake has available. And if Ash is going for any goal that Cake has available, if he just continues to go and try and find progression, like, Ash will just get further and further behind from being forced to do those goals, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I agree. And this board is sort of difficult for that setup just because there aren't that many goals are like immediately rushable in and of themselves. You've got some goals that require Dream Nails, some goals that are purely random, some goals that are hard claw locked. So like if you're Ash and looking to rush things to snipe Cake Sauce out, like maybe getting Geo for Nail 3 is your best path in right now. And it looks like Cake already scrolling back through shops looking for that Pale Ore. And Ash knows she's down progression, right? Because Obtain Isma's tier was marked at a bare minimum. And so it's just a really rough place to be in to decide how you're routing. Cake also looks like eyeing that Charms goal with the Unbreakable Greed purchase.
Ash getting C-Dash here. We'll know. Oh, I guess we'll assume that this is where Cake got his? Or maybe not. Because he did mark the C-Peaks elevator beforehand.
Yeah, with marking Soulmaster into both Crystal Heart-locked goals, I think it's fair to say that Ash knows she got a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Cake, once again, shopping up.
That's a Paylor. Is that his third?
I don't know that I can read Bingo UI on that pause.
All right, chat's informed. That's 3. Yeah, checking out his charms to see if he can do this. Does
Not
have 3,
quite.
needs one more 1 cost or another charm notch and he'll be good to go.
Cyclone Slash at Kalo 1. Hopefully that's not anything.
Oh boy.
And so if you're Ash in this position, I honestly think like maybe fight for nail 3 for the nail 3 goal. But at that point, I think you just got to start checking the map as efficiently as you can because there are enough like one-off things that you hope to find.
Was Cake just about to do Colo for Geo?
I'm not sure what that play was.
I was trying to make his way somewhere. I'm trying to think if he's stranded any checks or anything.
There is this gauntlet up here.
Oh, wanted to preview Colo. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Oh, and that's a dive. That's big. Cake also has access to Pleasure House. I just don't think he's checked it.
Yeah, that's that will definitely help. Doesn't open up anything immediately. No Dream Nail for God Home. No Claw for Lord Tablets and Soul Sanctum. But we'll open up quite a few checks here. This is a pretty standard play. You see dive, go crypts.
For sure. Nothing quite as dense as crypts. As soon as you got dive, 4 checks in the span of like a few seconds essentially.
Yeah, and Ash not farming grubs at all this seed. Hasn't picked up a grub yet. So that Dream Nail is still going to be a ways away.
Is that our first Lifeblood charm?
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited.
It's looking kind of nice.
I'm so excited.
Immediately as Ash starts exploring the underground, Cake gonna finally go into testing grounds proper for the first time.
Fluke Nest.
Ash picking up the invisible charm.
Was that Great Slash for the first check there? That might be 3 nail art. Oh, Tram.
700 essence.
Another Dream Nail gated behind Essence.
Incredible. That's a great seer.
Yeah, Great Slash, Tram Pass, Dream Gate.
So I'm guessing we're not going to see Waterways grubs marked. I'm guessing that's not going to be a thing that happens this race.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Imagine if Claw is locked behind that Tram Pass somewhere. Oh
yeah, we are on medium logic, so you only need one form of vertical to get to the Hive checks in logic. So Claw at Hive Knight, very real possibility.
I want to live in the world where we see that, but I imagine that this won't get to that.
It's very true. Ash gotta start muscling in on some of these accessible goals, which right now looks like geo routing and grub routing, I think. And that's another 1-notch charm, so that's 5 charms at the same time as soon as Cake gets to a bench.
Mm-hmm. That'll be good for him. That'll bring him to 11. And then, like, yeah, Galeon is something that could be done. Only needs 5 more grubs, and with Dash Master, you can farm out those grubs very, very, very quickly. Second Lifeblood Charm.
The plot thickens.
He does think about it.
We've already seen 2 white fragments as well. Haven't seen a second dash for the Void Heart check. Alright, so Cake just 2 goals shy of victory. Finds another Dreamer, just to add to the spice a little bit.
I feel like we're getting teased by like so many different locations here. Like 1 Dreamer off Black Egg. We know where the other 2 nail arts are. Abyss is kind of calling.
At this point, it won't be any of that. It'll just be Claw at Shape of On, and we'll all be disappointed. Or, no, Claw can't be a collector on Medium Logic, I don't think. Pretty sure it's spicy to get to the actual collector's map check. Oh, there's a second dash.
Can't do CP scrubs without Claw, correct?
Not logically. I'm pretty sure Wings, Sea Dash, and Dive is enough if you Spike Tunnel in. Maybe you need Claw for that last grub, the one by the elevator. Because you can get around from behind by the Dirtmouth entrance.
What about the Crystal Heart one?
If you come from Dirtmouth from behind the elevator, you need Claw to actually get into Sea Peaks from that direction, but you can get
No, sorry, I mean the like the one in the Crystal Heart room. Can you get high enough?
Yeah, you can pogo off of like the bookcase or whatever that's in that room with double jump.
Oh, cool. I did not know that. Pretty clean pogo there from Cake.
And welcome to Deep Nest. And also, incidentally, a grub and Spore Shroom on the way. Meanwhile, Ash checking another very memeable Claw location in Basin Simple Key.
I like this a lot from Cake. Coming down here to get the access to Deep Nest while collecting that grub. Should be. I imagine he's doing this so that he can kind of knock Galeon out as soon as he gets those, or that Dream Nail from grubs.
But also skipping the Mimic grub. Like when I think of this Deep Nest routing, it's because there are a lot of grubs that are sort of right on your way. But opting to just head right down to the Hot Springs bench.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable play. It's hard to tell which grub is going to be the one you need, so it does take a long time to try and kind of decipher all of that, especially because he doesn't have Dream Nail to kind of actually check which one's which. So I think it's pretty reasonable from Cake to skip that.
You want to get those
faster grubs,
confirmed grubs instead.
Yeah. There are a lot of faster ones, like this one. Yeah, this one. Well, this one, I'm not sure about this one, but we'll see.
They are not shuffled in rando, chat. This is just a particular quirk of this commentary block where, for our purposes, the Deep Nest grubs are impossible to tell.
And Fluke Nest is invisible.
Fluke Nest is also invisible. Welcome to the Hollow Knight Randomizer.
Is Cake making his way to Galeon right now? Oh, this is just the tram bench, or not, or the failed tramway bench, right?
Yeah, I imagine, and like getting these quick grubs on the way. I believe that looks like 9.
You can hit that grub through the floor.
That was added in a relatively recent update, so it saves you some time and also saves you needing, I think, more movement items to get there, but I'm not confident on that one.
Wow. That's really, really good to know.
And Ash, I believe finding nothing at the simple key and continuing on to the broken vessel fight, which is pretty far out of the way. Like, technically in logic, so not an impossible place to find Claw, but still not a fast check, especially if you take an unfortunate death.
Yeah, Jet, it's very possible that I've actually seen it multiple times and that my short-term memory just erases it. But, yeah. This is, yeah, this isn't really what I'd expect from... Like, you get dive, you have wings, like, you've got the simple key for waterways. Like, I think, like, where I'd go for checks here is probably waterways. Get the grub there to, like, start making progress towards that goal, even if it seems unlikely. And then get the checks there. I think this is pretty far out for just one,
yeah,
one check.
Fireball and dive is not, like, a ton of damage. Like, you're not melting broken vessel. It's a healthy time investment. Certainly not like Crips, where you get 4 checks right away. And Cake with his Dream Nail. Based on what we've seen so far of the seed, maybe the only Dream Nail we're going to see. Going to get Galleon, and is just one of any number of different random checks away from being able to end the game.
Making its way through this dark room. Not the longest dark room in the game. Gonna make it through okay.
And yeah, just a seal at Broken Vessel.
Quick slash. Imagine, much like the other bosses that Cake has fought, I don't imagine Galleon is long for this world. Well, I guess is already a ghost, so maybe he's already gone.
Yeah, ghost or not, that scythe still hurts. Cake, yeah. Just running back and forth to preserve his health a little bit. As Ash doing a Lem trip, I wonder if the relics she got from Basin are enough to make her competitive on Nail 3, because she needs to get that right now, or else that is Cake's easiest way to win the game.
Yeah. And there's good night, Galleon. Otherwise, I'm looking at what goals are available, and for Cake, he's actually in a place where if he does get sniped on this Nail 3, it's just Sea-Peak Scrubs?
He doesn't even have dive yet, so he can't actually finish Sea-Peak Scrub.
Can't even get in, yeah. So it would buy Ash some time, but does not look like that's happening.
That's our third Dreamer node.
Wait.
But yeah, Ash spending some time in waterways. Now is perhaps one of the most dangerous times to do that, because Cake is barreling down towards Lem. And with all 3 Pale Ores, that's enough Geo. So this is looking like it's going to be a quick GG before we even found a Claw.
No Claw. 1 Dream Nail. Well, I guess 2 Dream Nails. 2 spells total. But we found the location of all 3 Dreamers. And
all 3 Nail Arts.
Yeah, all 3 Nail Arts as well. Definitely an interesting seed.
I'll say now that it looks like we're just a couple cutscenes away from GG, and I was getting the spoiler log ready for this game. There's Katie's brand. Oh my god. I saw the Claw location on the progression. So I'm excited to talk about that in post game.
Oh boy. Oh, King's brand was right there.
Imagine if we just had a little bit more time.
Go.
And that's going to be formally GG to Cake.
Yep, that is 13. And that was a pretty quick race. Marksman's done.
Sub an hour.
GG's, Cake.
GG.
GG's. Good. That Hornet too.
Oh yeah, it was very clean. Very clean.
Thanks. I thought it was kind of sloppy, but I mean, that's just me.
I think you might have higher standards of yourself than we do for you. Oh, there's something else I was going to mention. Oh yeah, the progression at the start. Oh my goodness, like it was like last couple checks when you finally found those wings.
It was all over the place, and I was about to go do Mantis Claw next, and then I didn't have to.
Yeah, because those were the last 2 checks in Logic. We were pretty sure.
Yeah.
So we got word that Ash is not going to be joining us for the interview. So let's dive into what your intended progression this seed was, because it makes me very happy, and I'm sure it will make Locust very happy as well. You found the dash at Salubra. You found the wings at Dashmaster. Ash at the very end of that seed found Kingsbrand and Waterways with a simple key that you found lying around.
Okay.
There was a second dash at Vessel Fragment Crossroads that I believe Ash also picked up. You had 1 white fragment in the well and 1 white fragment at 16 grubs for Mantis Claw, Void Heart.
Oh yes! Oh, I love Abyss.
Okay, because I saw that white fragment at 16, and so I figured that Kingsbrand was going to show up at some point, and I was planning on having a trip to Abyss for that very reason, but Waterways, huh?
Waterways. But I'm incorrect. I'm sorry. That was the duplicate Mantis Claw. The intended Mantis Claw had you going into Deep Nest to get Grimchild at the Weaver's Den Geo Chest, Claw at Charm Notch Grim.
Where was Lantern then?
Lantern was at Sly with the shopkeeper's key at Fluke Nest.
Nice. So it's a fluke seed.
Fluke seed all along.
Okay, so then where was Dive to be able to get to Fluke Marm?
The one dive we saw in Pleasure House. Looks like the other dives. One was at Distant Village Stag, and one was at God Tuner.
Okay.
No wonder we didn't find any of those.
Yeah, I was gonna check Pleasure House and Waterways sometime soon. I was just trying to see if there were any other goals I could get on the way first.
Yeah, and you had those available, so that makes a lot of sense.
Dude, that tram pass at 700 Essence though, that would have been fun.
Oh boy.
Can you just tell us what was at NMG and Black Egg? Because we saw all 3 nail arts, we saw all 3 dreamers. My curiosity is definitely getting the better of me.
Absolutely. So there was a Wraiths at Nailmaster's Glory, so actually not too bad. And just a journal at World Sense, so Black Egg Temple was a bait.
Gotcha.
And that is an excellent point from chat. You actually need Distant Village Stag to get there without a logical lantern.
And I would imagine the Pleasure House dive wouldn't have been in Logic. Or what was the Pleasure House Lantern dive? Something.
There was a dive at both Pleasure House and God Tuner, so it expected you to be able to get 4 simple keys to get D-Dark. Because there's one of those was intended. The Distant Village Stag was at Come Back Here. Was at Helena Seal Queen's Gardens.
Right. Okay.
Oh lord, that would have been a long trip.
No, all in all, a good play to keep it a fast race. Because if it wasn't a fast race, it was going to be a very, very slow race.
You saved yourself some trouble in the long term.
Incidentally, the Abyss Shriek check was one of those 4 simple keys.
Nice.
So you had to get Oh, did you have to get, or I guess where were the other wraiths? Did you have to get? There's no way you had to get NMG wraiths, right? That doesn't make sense.
There was one wraiths at the egg near Quick Slash, which is dive locked.
Oh God.
And Abyss Shriek, or another wraiths was at Sharp Shadow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Looks
just
like
curiosity, where was Dream Nails? Because I found one at Essence,
Oh, yeah.
and I picked up the one from Grubs, and we needed one more for King's Mold.
That is a good point. So those were the first 2 Dream Nails that that the Logic has. There was a Dream Nail at the Rancid Egg in Beast Den, and a Dream Nail behind Watcher Knights.
Watcher Knights, nice.
Solid.
Watcher Egg.
All in all, though, that was a very good race. You played very, very well to get all those goals out of the way as quick as you did. Is there anything else we're curious about? I think that's probably about all we're gonna get out of this seed.
Yeah, that's quite. There's not a whole lot more to explore. It's all in all the cursed locations.
Well, guess it's too bad that Ash struggled the way she did. I was wondering where she was progression-wise.
It was. I think it was just mostly that progression took so long to find, and then like because wings took so long to find, and you got them like quite earlier than her. Then yeah, it was just kind of like you were able to knock out all that stuff.
Gotcha. Did she take a Lem trip to get the 4 rancid eggs? Did she buy them from shops that way, or did she just find them somewhere else?
She
I was
took a
curious
Lem
about that. Okay.
She was entering right side around the time you marked the Defender's Crest goal, and so she was doing like Lem trip while you were fighting Soulmaster and that sort of stuff, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I wasn't thinking about it at the time. I feel like I probably should have benched at the toll by Sanctum and then gone and done some Geo stuff before committing to Soulmaster. In my silly head of mine, of course, I saw Soulmaster and Sanctum tablets on the board, and I'm thinking, great, let's go to Sanctum. There's 2 goals. And then I get in there and I'm like, oh yeah, I need Claw and Dive to do this, dummy.
I mean, still worth your while finding like Ismas and C-Dash on the way up.
Yeah, C-Dash was it Spell Twister, I think? So it was all around still worthwhile. Got me the elevator goal right after, but...
And the best goal.
The best goal. And Mila. Yes, indeed. Mila. My heart jumped for joy at the thought of being able to kill Mila.
Here first. Just to work on chat, the other vengeful spirits. So we found the one at Crossroads Stag, obviously. There was a Vanilla Shade Soul, and there was another vengeful spirit at Lurian.
Nice.
Man,
So
spells
Watcher
were buried.
Egg.
Watcher Knights, indeed.
Yeah, did we find where Grimchild was?
Weaver's Den Geochest.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah, because then the other one was behind that. Yeah, okay.
So Deepness had some good stuff.
Sure.
Had a Dream Nail, yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, what a seed. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's probably all we've got for this race. We've got another one coming up in about 2 hours, and that's going to be another upper bracket match between Acrid and Ash to Smurf.
That is also loser's side, correct?
Yep. Yeah, so that's another elimination match, and then we'll be ending off the day at 9 p.m. EST with Hamothity versus Cthulhu, and that's our first upper bracket winners bracket match that's going to be streamed. So that'll be really, really exciting to see how that goes too. But yeah,
Cool.
thanks for the race, GG's Cake, and
Good luck in
thanks
your
for coming, Quack.
Same to you.
Thank you, too, for coming. Thank you, chat, for watching.